Hello, all you freedom-loving people. Welcome to another episode of Front Page International. I'm your host, Scott Cameron Goulet. The Biden connections to Ukraine continue to come under scrutiny. Two whistleblowers are scheduled to testify next week. Emails show the communications between the Ukrainian oil company Burisma and Hunter Biden and his associates before Joe Biden went to Ukraine in order to allegedly peddle his influence and to stop the investigation. Now Joe Biden at the recent G7 summit reaffirmed support for Ukraine. Elon Musk announced his new artificial company called xAI. So what are his goals and what are the differences with other AI companies? Trevor Loudon, who is an expert on the Chinese Communist Party, recently connected the dots between the CCP and the globalist agenda and how the CCP is using the World Economic Forum and the United Nations to help the CCP conquer the world. Okay, let's get into it. On Wednesday, the House Oversight Committee announced that two IRS whistleblowers will testify publicly at a congressional hearing next Wednesday. These two whistleblowers who have provided information regarding the Biden family's involvement in peddling schemes will testify 1 week before Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden will appear in court for his sweetheart plea deal on July 26. The testimony from IRS investigator Gary Shapley and another individual identified as whistleblower X was shared the day after the U.S. Attorney for Delaware, David Weiss, announced that he had reached a plea deal with Hunter Biden on two tax charges. Whistleblower X's identity, which is not disclosed yet, will be revealed at the afternoon hearing on July 19th. Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said, "These credible and brave whistleblowers possess critical info related to our ongoing investigation into the Biden family's influence peddling schemes. Americans deserve to hear directly from them." On Tuesday, Republican lawmakers blew up upon learning about an email chain from 2015 that predated Joe Biden's controversial trip to Ukraine in 2015. In the email chain, the Burisma Holdings executive revealed the ultimate purpose of Hunter Biden's involvement with the Ukrainian energy company Burisma. In the emails, Hunter Biden and Burisma executives discussed executing a contract for counter-messaging against any federal investigation into Burisma's founder and then president, Mykola Zlochevsky. The emails are dated 1 month before then Vice President Joe Biden traveled to Ukraine. During that trip, Joe Biden gave a speech about rooting out corruption in politics. He also threatened to withhold $1 billion in U.S. aid if Ukrainian leaders did not fire their top prosecutor, Shokin, because he was investigating Burisma. The first email was on November 2nd, 2015, when Burisma executive Vadim Pozharsky emailed Hunter Biden. Back then, Pozharsky was serving as a Burisma board member. Pozharsky talked to Hunter's associate, Devin Archer. Devin Archer was a fellow board member of Burisma. Pozharsky also talked to Eric Schwerin. Schwerin was the president of Rosemount Seneca Partners. He talked to Schwerin about a revised contract and an invoice for Burisma Holdings from lobbying firm Blue Star Strategies. Pozharsky emphasized in his email that the ultimate purpose of the agreement with Blue Star Strategies was to shut down any cases against Mykola Zlochevsky or Burisma in Ukraine. Pozharsky wrote, "My only concern is for us to be on the same page regarding our final goals. With this in mind, I would like us to formulate a list of deliverables, including but not limited to a concrete course of actions, including meetings, communications, resulting in high-ranking U.S. officials in Ukraine, U.S. ambassador, and in U.S. publicly or in private communication comment, expressing their positive opinion and support of Mykola Burisma to the highest level of decision makers here in Ukraine, President of Ukraine, President Chief of Staff, Prosecutor General, etc." Pozharsky continued, "The scope of work should also include organization of a visit of a number of widely recognized and influential current and or former U.S. policymakers to Ukraine in November, aiming to conduct meetings with and bringing positive signal, message, and support on Nikola's issue to the Ukrainian top officials above, with the ultimate purpose to close down any cases, pursuits against Nikola in Ukraine. Eric Schwerin wrote to Hunter Biden and Archer the same day. He forwarded Pozharsky's message. He said that, "I would tell Vadim," meaning Pozharsky, "that this is definitely done deliberately to be on the safe and cautious side, and that Sally and company understand the scope and deliverables." Schwerin added, "and that we will be having regular, daily, weekly, monthly opportunities through conference calls or memos to be continually refining and updating the scope." At this point, I'm personally wondering what the deliverables are, especially after watching the movie that's so popular right now. So Hunter Biden responded to Pozharsky. Hunter Biden said that he wanted to have one last conversation with Blue Star. Then later he said that he was comfortable with Blue Star. Hunter also wrote on November 5th, 2015, that you should go ahead and sign. Looking forward to getting started on this. Ahead of the trip, an associate at Blue Star Strategies emailed Hunter Biden, Archer, and Pozharsky about a White House conference call that outlined the trip's agenda and addressed several questions regarding U.S. policy toward Ukraine. During the trip, this is when Joe Biden pressured Ukrainian officials to fire Shokin. Shokin was the prosecutor who was investigating Zlochevsky, and Shokin was fired less than 4 months later in March of 2016. In February of 2016, roughly 2 months after Joe Biden's trip to Ukraine and 2 months before Shokin's firing, Hunter Biden thanked Zlochevsky in an email for the beautiful birthday gifts, which he described as far too extravagant. Joe Biden even boasted on camera in 2018 that when he was vice president, he pressured Ukraine to fire Shokin. Although the White House has repeatedly said that Joe Biden urged Ukraine to fire Shokin because he was too lax in prosecuting corruption, Republicans believe that the timing of events was more than just a coincidence. Joe Biden met with a group of 7 G7 leaders on July 12th at the NATO summit in order to offer security assistance to Ukraine. Ukrainian President Zelensky also joined the meeting. During the meeting, the G7 leaders issued a joint declaration of support for Ukraine. Biden announced after the meeting that this joint declaration would make it clear that their support will last long into the future. That means that the United States would provide various forms of military assistance, intelligence and information sharing, cyber support, and other forms of material support so that Ukraine can both defend itself and deter future aggression. Biden also explained that each country would individually negotiate long-term bilateral security agreements with Ukraine. The announcement of security guarantees came after Zelensky expressed frustration about the statement that was released by NATO on July 11th. Zelensky called the decision unprecedented and absurd. NATO members supported Ukraine's alliance membership. However, they failed to provide a timeline for Ukraine's ascension to the military alliance. NATO said that Ukraine could join the military alliance when allies agree and conditions are met. NATO also removed the requirement that Ukraine implement a membership action plan. Instead, they've adapted an annual national program in order to review progress regularly. Before we move on, I want to take a moment to thank you all for your support of Front Page. Every like, comment, and share helps more people to see the truth. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you have already subscribed, we thank you, but please double check to make sure that you are still subscribed, because some of our audience have reported that they're somehow unsubscribed without their knowledge. Okay, let's get back into it. On Wednesday, Elon Musk announced a new artificial intelligence company called xAI. Musk announced the new company in a short tweet. However, in his tweet, Musk did not specify the upcoming venture's details. He only stated that his AI company's objective is to understand the true nature of the universe. The first tweet by the XAI account on Twitter was, "What are the most fundamental unanswered questions?" Musk replied to the tweet saying, "And what are the most fundamental unknown questions?" Once you know the right question to ask, the answer is often the easy part. A Twitter Spaces chat has been scheduled for July 14th in order to meet the team and ask questions about the upcoming initiative, which is still a secret. The new company is separate from the X Corporation. However, XAI will work closely with Twitter, Tesla, and other companies in order to make progress toward their mission. The XAI team is led by Elon Musk, with some team members having worked on various other artificial intelligence projects in the past. These include Google's DeepMind and OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. The team is advised by Dan Hendricks, who now serves as the director of the Center for AI Safety. The Center for AI Safety is a nonprofit that seeks to reduce societal scale risks associated with AI. Musk's announcement of XAI came on the same day that Musk met with two U.S. congressmen, Democrat Ro Khanna and Republican Mike Gallagher, at a Twitter Space event. During the audio interview with the lawmakers, Musk said that he is kind of pro-China. No one can deny that Elon Musk has a brilliant brain, but after all, he grew up in the West, so he may not know enough about the evils of the CCP. He may still have illusions about the CCP. Musk said, "I know this makes it sound like, well, do you have all these vested interests in China?" I'm like, I have some vested interest in China, but honestly, I think China is underrated. And I think the people of China are really awesome, and there's a lot of positive energy there. We should make the distinction here between the Chinese people and the CCP. The Chinese people are not the same as the political party, the CCP, but American politicians have had enough of the CCP's deceptions. Representative Mike Gallagher disagreed with Musk's endorsement of the communist country. Gallagher argued that China aligns with team genocidal communism rather than team humanity. Gallagher said, "In what other international framework have they been a constructive actor? For a decade, our experts made the case for sharing cutting-edge, gain-of-function research with China, and that turned out to be a total pandemic-level disaster." Gallagher even predicted that Beijing would look to use AI to implement total techno-totalitarian control. In a bipartisan collaboration, Representative Ro Khanna agreed with Gallagher and challenged Musk's views about China. Recently, the Chinese Communist Party has greatly influenced corporations worldwide to advance its socialist agenda against the West. Trevor Loudon, a political researcher and public speaker, believes that the CCP manifests its influence in various ways. To implement its agenda, the CCP is adopting its state capitalism economic model, and the CCP is supporting similar models worldwide. The CCP also promotes globalist policies that appeal to social justice issues and to environmentalism. So, what would be the fastest and most influential way to achieve these globalist policies? Of course, the best approach is to get closer to globalist organizations that promote these agendas, such as the World Economic Forum and the United Nations. In an interview with Epoch Times on July 10th, Loudon gave an example illustrating all these factors. Loudon said, "The Chinese social credit score is very much what we see as the ESG scores, the environmental social governance scores that we see in a lot of the big woke corporations today. If you look at why sports has gone so woke, sports is influenced so much by Nike, and Nike is pretty much influenced by the CCP. Chinese social credit scores are now available in the West as ESG scores. And companies aligned with the CCP, which are most associated with the World Economic Forum, drive this trend. So this means that globalism and the CCP are overlapping entities. The CCP, since the late 1970s, has adopted an economic model that is called state capitalism, or the China model. This was the approach that the regime took after failing to transition to socialism directly from feudalism. China's model, or state capitalism, is the stage of communism that is before socialism. Loudon explained by saying Marxism has several stages of development: primitive communism, feudalism, capitalism, socialism, and then full-blown communism. Loudon also said the CCP tried to go from feudalism to socialism. It was a massive failure. It has gone back to the state capitalism idea. The World Economic Forum recently met in China with representatives from more than 90 countries and regions. The event included praise for the China state capitalism model. The CCP's economic model of state capitalism is pretty much identical to the stakeholder capitalism that the World Economic Forum promotes. Loudon said Klaus Schwab is basically doing the Chinese Communist Party's bidding. He noted that the World Economic Forum is basically a front for the CCP. In order to bring businesses into socialism, the World Economic Forum promotes state capitalism. But the main goal is that they don't tell the businesses that the next stage will be socialism. Loudon emphasized by saying this is about woke businesses. This is about the new way of doing business where government and capitalist businesses work together. This is the Chinese model. Another platform for the CCP is the United Nations. In order to destroy Western economies, the CCP employs environmentalist policies. So this is why the CCP supports globalist initiatives such as the United Nations. In September of 2015, Canada and 192 other UN members adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. In July of 2022, the CCP held a large conference in China titled the World Youth Development Forum. This was part of a campaign to implement Agenda 2030. The event was attended by many young people from all around the world, including multiple youth communist groups. Agenda 2030 covers various aspects of human life and the economy. It includes calling for global wealth distribution and for reducing global greenhouse gas emissions in order to tackle climate change. Loudon also explained by saying Agenda 30 is a major pressure on the corporations to get more woke, and it's going to have a massive, devastating effect on the Western economies. It's going to try and push all these net carbon zero goals. These things aim to destroy the West's energy resources and technology, which are the primary advantages. This is also about shifting the world's balance of power, about destroying Western economies so that the CCP can win the battle. And to show how the United States is affected, Loudon talked about the New York-based Natural Resources Defense Council. Natural Resources Defense Council has a long-standing friendly relationship with the CCP, and it is one of the main organizations shutting down new developments like oil drilling and using environmental methods to shut down valuable projects in America. After all, we should not forget that the CCP has adopted all these tools and it has aligned itself with globalists in order to achieve its main goal. That is, the CCP has no interest in a world government. The CCP's intentions are higher than that. The CCP wants to be the world's government. We pray that never happens, so we speak out. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember that every like, comment, and share helps more people to see the truth. We've heard from many of our viewers that they don't get notifications of our videos anymore from YouTube, so please follow us on Telegram, Gab, Getter, True Social, Twitter, and on Ganjing World for the latest updates. Okay, this is our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and family, because everybody deserves to know the truth. Again, thank you for watching Front Page, and we will see you next time.